Project management concepts may seem tough at times, but not to worry. You have a coach who makes it as easy as ABC. Here he is to set things straight for you. Your friend, Phil.
Hello, my fellow project managers. Have you ever been through in your head various questions such as what you see on the screen? Why does the PMBOK guide not show this input here? It shows it here, but it doesn't show it here. Why is this output here? Why doesn't it show it there? Why do we not have this tool and technique that appears in this process in that one? Questions such as that. These questions may have been swarming in your mind, but I want you to know, if you're getting ready for the PMP exam, it is based on PMI's terms. You just have to drink the Kool-Aid. Now, there's a difference between being inquisitive versus being combative. Some people are fighting against the PMBOK guide. As they say in the military, embrace the suck. Just embrace it. Just drink the Kool-Aid. Move along. Understand this is the PMI's book. It's their standard. It's all right to be inquisitive, to want to know a little bit more, but don't get combative and don't get into OCD mode. Don't get into obsessive compulsive disorder that every single piece of the PMBOK guide needs to add up. It will not. Till now, there are many errors littered throughout the PMBOK guide that will not be found. That's one. And two, you just need to embrace PMI's ideas, methods, get to an understanding, get to being aligned with it. Don't argue and argue and argue. Some folks argue and argue even though the answers are staring at them. They say, then why did PMI do this? I want to play a little video for you. These are my views as to what I think people should do when they're studying for this exam. Hello, my friends. It's your buddy Phil here, project management trainer and coach. I hope you're doing well. It's time for our daily drill for today. Our daily drill for today is all about perceptions of the PMBOK guide. I want to talk about perceptions of the PMBOK guide because a lot of students, I tell you, many students have asked me the question, why does the PMBOK guide say this is an input here, but it's not an input to this? Why does the PMBOK guide say the issue log is an input here, but it's not an input to this one? Why does the PMBOK guide say the stakeholder register is an input here, but it's not an input there? Why does the PMBOK guide cite the project management plan containing the stakeholder engagement plan in this process, but in this process it mentions some other plan? Why don't we have accepted deliverables as an input to something else? Honestly, all those questions are well and good, my friends. But there is something that I want you to remember. It's very important. You got to remember that the PMP exam is based on the PMI's rules. Their rules of the game, their rules of engagement, their rules of perception, whatever. So, spending time asking questions such as that, like valuable time. I mean, some people have OCD on this stuff. It bothers them. Should I take my glasses off to speak to you? Look, stop obsessing over it. Human beings wrote the book, not aliens. So it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be places where you could easily argue, oh, but the issue log should have been an input here. Or the risk register, oh, it should have been an input here. Or why do they say that EEFs are this, but not this? Or why does the PMBOK guide list this, but not that? This is my advice to you, and I'm giving you this advice not because I do not want to answer your questions, but I'm giving you this advice because it is the quickest and easiest way to deal with it. You know what my answer is? Drink the Kool-Aid, suck it up, move on. You get what I'm saying? Drink the Kool-Aid, suck it up, move on. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the more you obsess over little things like this, the more time you're wasting on the meat, the substance of your exam. Trust me, your exam is not based on the minutia of this is an input here, this is an output. Oh, this is a tool and technique. No. Look, get it straight. The major components that you need for your exam, they're already set straight in the PMBOK guide to the... Hello, my friends. It's your buddy Phil here, Project Management Trainer and Coach. I hope you're doing well. It's time for our daily drill for today. Our daily drill for today is all about perceptions of the PMBOK guide. I want to talk about perceptions of the PMBOK guide because a lot of students, I tell you, many students have asked me the question, why does the PMBOK guide say this is an input here, but it's not an input to this? Why does the PMBOK guide say the issue log is an input here, but it's not an input to this one? Why does the PMBOK guide say the stakeholder register is an input here, but it's not an input there? Why does the PMBOK guide cite the project management plan containing the stakeholder engagement plan in this process, but in this process it mentions some other plan? Why don't we have accepted deliverables as an input to something else? Honestly, all those questions are well and good, my friends. But there is something that I want you to remember. It's very important. You got to remember that the PMP exam is based on the PMI's rules. Their rules of the game, their rules of engagement, their rules of perception, whatever. So, spending time asking questions such as that, like valuable time. I mean, some people have OCD on this stuff. It bothers them. Should I take my glasses off to speak to you? Look, stop obsessing over it. Human beings wrote the book, not aliens. So it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be places where you could easily... All right. You kind of get the idea. You get the idea. So that was part one of what I had to say, and then it got cut off, and then it started again. But the bottom line of what I want you to know here, my friends, is don't argue with the book, okay? The PMBOK guide is laid out by the PMI. They have their own idea of how projects should run. It may not align entirely with what you think, but if you want to get this exam under your belt, instead of being combative, my suggestion is to just suck it up, lap it up, and agree with it. Now, this is part two of what I had to say. Part two. It happened, but I'm not sure where I got cut off, but the bottom line of what I've been saying for the past number of minutes is focus on the big ticket stuff. WPD, WPI, WPR, right? The PMBOK guide mainline. Things that are big ticket items, not the tiny little sub bullets. So you do know that for every process you have the major bullets, which are inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs, and then you have the sub bullets, sub inputs, sub tools and techniques, sub outputs. You know, you got those. Okay. Now, for the inputs, I wouldn't obsess over the tiny little bullets. You should know them. You should, as you're reading them, understand their relevance because it could help you. But don't obsess over it. Don't try to cram all of them, memorize all of them. And if there's any that's not adding up, what I advise you to do first is go to the glossary, look at the errata sheet, and try and make sense out of what you're given. But if you cannot make sense of it, it's fine. Just do your best, but please leave it and move on. I'm begging you, leave it, move on. Try your best, move on. because it's not adding a lot of value to your PMP exam experience. You know, the tiny little minutia. How have I come to this conclusion? Well, when I took the recent PMP mock exam and just going through the questions and how they are framed and phrased, I realized that those tiny little pieces of minutia, they're not really that critical. They're not that key. Now, I'm not saying don't know your minutia. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the exam is not based on that. You get what I'm saying, my friends? The exam is not based on that. That minutia, all that stuff that people obsess about, the tiny little pieces that you feel the PMI should have done. You're arguing with the PMBOK guide. That's what you're doing. Stop arguing with the guy. Just drink the Kool-Aid. Move on. Because it is what it is. PMI missed that stakeholder engagement plan, should have been mentioned here. Okay, but leave it alone and move on. And stop letting those things put you in a tailspin when it comes to preparing for your exam. Some people get caught in this tailspin trying to figure out every single word. My goodness, they're just humans that put this stuff together. There's always human error, and there's always a different rationalization. You may rationalize it somehow, PMI might rationalize it somehow else. Okay? Or I should say the experts who participated in the exercise of writing that chapter might see it as a different thing. I hope this is making sense, because I see a lot of people fighting with the PMBOK guide almost in a combative way. You know, don't waste your time. Okay? I hope this helps you. When you're going to the exam, you should be able to look at any problem that you're given, analyze it, choose the best option, and move on. That's it. All of those project documents on page 89, know them, know where they come from, know the major places they're used. If you ask me, what do you mean by major place? I'm sorry, I can't help you on that one. You should know the major places documents are used. They're inputs. For example, deliverables. What is a major process that one is used in? Control quality. What about verify deliverables? What is a major process that one is used? Verify deliverables is used in validate scope as an input. You get what I'm saying? So I hope this gives you some confidence, some ideas about what to focus on, and most importantly, remember the PMI's mantra. These could include, but are not limited to. You know, that's their favorite mantra throughout the guide. Right. Could include, but are not limited to. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're not saying that the list they have in the PMBOK guide is the be-all, end-all. They're just saying, okay, this is what we've identified so far. There could be other things. Okay? But don't sweat it. Don't sweat the minutia. Go for the big fish. Get the 800-pound gorilla. Laugh all the way to the score bank. Talk to you soon, and bye for now.
All right. Well, let's move on to analyze what I call this. I call it the WPNS syndrome, or WDPNS syndrome, whatever you want to call it. Why does the PMBOK guide not say? Why does the PMBOK guide not say? Don't get me wrong, I like inquisitivity, people to be inquisitive, but when it interferes with your prep, it's not good. You need to understand that these books right here, these books right here, this is the world of the PMI. It is not the world of me or you. It is the world of the PMI, and we just need to suck it up, drink it up, understand what they mean, what they say, move on. Now, another thing I want to point out, if you have any questions about any of the ITTOs, you must research it yourself. Open up the book, go to the back of the book, look for the glossary, read the meanings of these things, and get to a firmer understanding by reading the glossary, by studying. You got to study, and then things become clearer. All right? So don't be antagonistic against the guide, okay, or against your instructor. If I say something to you, don't immediately begin to quarrel with me. We're on the same team, okay? Or if you take the PMI mock exam and it spits out an answer at you, don't get all combative. Seriously, the mindset needs to be, I want to know everything that I need to before taking this exam. I need to know why my mindset is not aligning with the PMBOK guide. Maybe I'm holding on to something from my project management past that I need to let go to embrace the PMBOK guide, to drink the Kool-Aid. And then when you're done, when you're certified, you can tailor as you will. That's all I'm saying, because I see a lot of people, as they study for this exam, they get mad at the PMI. They get mad at the PMBOK guide. They get mad for wrong reasons. Now, there's some right reasons for getting mad at them, but this one of the 6th edition, questioning and questioning and questioning to the point that it debilitates you, is not sensible. All right? So read the guide, study it, get to consensus just for the purpose of the exam. Okay? Stop being at war with the PMBOK guide. You need to be in a healthy relationship with it. So, positive mental attitude. Stop the why does the PMBOK guide not say syndrome. Okay? And get on to the side of the guide. Okay? It shouldn't be the other way around. You should be trying to get on board with the 6th edition for your exam. That's what I'm saying. I hope this brings some sanity and normalcy to your studying, and I wish you all the very best as you prepare. Bye for now.